Welcome back to another video, gamers. I've been deep in the gamer dungeon getting stuff done for the last 3 days. I've decided I'm going to try to make my own video game. So I basically have to go from having zero knowledge on how to do this stuff, which would be a little bit of a lie. I know a little bit about like 3D modeling on Blender, and I've tried coding and different things, but the things I've tried coding in the past were real simple. Like if you know what Kerbal Space Program is, there's a mod that allows you to code in its very own language and like put a computer on a rocket to automate the rocket's takeoff process. And I basically coded a rocket to land like Elon Musk's rockets, where they do a suicide burn, drop down, and right before it hits the ground, it cancels out all the velocity, I guess you would say. This is way more complicated. I'm just going to show you what I have going on now. This is my world. I want to make a game where it's basically dodgeball with throwing knives. I don't know if any of you ever played MW2 or MW3, the Call of Duty. If you went into the back of terminal with a bunch of homies on Search and Destroy and you all had throwing knives, you would play a little like throwing knife mini game back there, where you would cut off half the room and just hug them at each other. So I wanted to create a multiplayer game that I can upload to Steam at some point. That's basically recreating that. And I'll show you a couple of these scripts I've worked on. I've used AI to help me because I'm really bad at learning languages. So you can just put whatever you have in AI. You can have AI write a lot, like huge chunks of it, but you really want to learn it yourself to be able to get through things fast. So at the current moment, I've just been watching a bunch of YouTube videos to try to get caught up to actually all the stuff I've been doing. I wrote some of this myself, but most of it's been AI. This is my main character right now. Basically got like a pretty in-depth camera or movement controller. I don't know what you'd call it. Basically takes inputs and moves my camera and body around. Got code in here for my throwing knives, like picking up my knives and throwing them right here if input action is press throw. Here's my knife. It's just a rectangle with a raycast shooting out of it. Now these are, I think they're called placeholders. You just use like a simple mesh, and a mesh is just a shape. So this is going to be a throwing knife at some point. I'm going to go into Blender and I'm going to fully flesh out like an actual legitimate throwing knife, and I'll replace this rectangle at some point. But this is just for when you first build a game. It allows you to get all the mechanics down without having to 3D model stuff you might not end up using. This is my AI right here. Super simple AI. I'll show you the code on this. It's like, you can't even scroll up and down on this one. There's 42 lines of code. He basically just picks a random direction and a radius around him and just runs at that direction until he gets to it, and then picks a different direction. So currently this is what I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to create a really complex AI that sits on this side of the map and is going to hopefully throw throwing knives back at me. And then once I figure that out, I'm going to create like a nice map, maybe a couple maps, and then try to figure out how to make a game multiplayer, which is apparently a huge undertaking. So let me go ahead and run you what I have so far. Or run through what I have so far. Here's my little enemies running around, and we go ahead and throw a knife at them. If you can see down in the bottom left too, I have a knife counter. God, this is so satisfying. So my knives stick into them. I can pick my knives up out of them. They'll disappear after a while. Very basic animation of death. They just they just hit the dip, just lean over. Very satisfying. Here's a couple targets I made just to test out the knives. They don't have any scripts attached to them themselves. They just have collisions that I can stick my knife into. And I have a basic little knife sound sticking noise that I got off the internet. Pretty cool stuff. I also made it so I can reload my knives if I press R, just so I could have more while testing if I lost some. So I can throw a bunch in here, go pick all of them up. I got 6. Then if I hit my reload button, it'll drop it back down to 3. Took me a bit to get the knives working right, even with AI. Like I've been working on this for 3 days now. It took all of like 8 hours one day to get this this function working. And it's still not perfect. We're going to have to tweak it a lot. Also have this box over here. I realized I put it way too low, but I added a crouch function. And if the object is actually low enough for me to crouch under, I can crouch under it, but I put this a little bit too low. Kind of just threw it back down there. I had it raised way in the air. But yeah, this is super satisfying stuff. If you've never built a game before, I highly suggest you try it. Now, especially with the use of AI, it's a doable process. I mean, I'm not a super smart guy, but I can get some coding done now. I also plan to possibly start uploading a bunch of tutorials on how to do different things, because when I teach people, I learn a lot. So definitely expect that to happen on my channel. Probably gonna have a lot of Godot tutorials. My gaming videos are kind of not doing great, so we might be switching up the direction here a little bit. I don't know if that means ending my gaming content or keeping it going, but I want to create a game. My goal is 6 months. 6 months to have a game on Steam from about now. We'll see if I can get it done. I would say my odds are about 50-50 right now. Those might change a crazy amount once I get into this more and see what's coming for me. But I have a lot of this done. I add stuff pretty quick. Like today, I didn't have the AI, didn't have the AI being able to fall over. I didn't have the crosshair. Figured a bunch of that stuff out real quick and implemented it. So I'm guessing I can get the basic game mechanics down within a month. Let me quickly raise this and I'll show you the crouching. I just got to get it higher than a certain hitbox I have on me. Nope, let me click this, please. Let me click that, please. I think like around there, I gotta click on my crouching collision box. Has to be higher than this sphere right here. I think that's it. Let's try it. We can also knock the enemies out again. So satisfying. Also, you can see my knives kind of drop pretty ridiculously. I'm gonna add it so my knives, instead of just going straight out and falling, I'm gonna make it so it kind of arcs. I already know how I'm gonna get that done. Not really worried about it. But here's the crouching. So I can get under here and obviously works out pretty good. Pop out the other side. I got sprinting and obviously jumping. Probably gonna add a few more things like possibly sliding. Maybe a dodge feature, since it's gonna be a dodgeball game. See if we can long shot that idiot. I'm pretty terrible at my own game. There we go. See, the hitboxes are not perfectly on yet. I'm going to work on that and get it better once I actually have some character models that aren't capsules. But yeah, I'm super excited to be doing this. If you're excited for it, please hit the sub, stick around. A lot more content to be coming out on this. It's obviously not going to be as frequent as the gamer videos because takes a long time to make stuff happen in this type of thing. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.